So let's talk about what a star actually is. Maybe you guys already learned this, but I'll share it. And I love this definition, and it's that a star is a luminous ball of light held together by gravity, which I think exemplifies the very point that I am trying to make. The energy in this room is amazing. You guys are all balls of light. It's obvious that you shine brightly everywhere you go. But what is holding you together? And for me, that gravity is really hard work and showing up. Now, this is not exactly scientifically accurate, but typically, if I ask everybody here to draw a star, most of us will draw 5 points, right? Apparently, it could be 4, 5, 6, but most of us in the world have now, if you draw a star, you think of it as having 5 points. And at Combs Enterprises, I've identified 5 attributes that we look for as a filter when hiring people. And also when we look for, we typically go over this in our evaluations. So it's not just coming on board, right? It's staying on board. And it's not just staying on board, it's being the best at what you do in your individual role. So those 5 things are rapid, relentless, resourceful, responsive, and my favorite, respectful. So let's start off talking about rapid. I don't mean being fast for fast's sake, although I was actually born in California. I was raised in New York, so I don't know, got New York in the house, I'm sure, and we may have a reputation for being real fast. I don't mean just speeding to move fast, because don't mistake just, kind of movement for action, if you will, right? We want you to be principled and focused on what you get done. But it does make a difference to show up and be first. And I'll tell you an example. About 8 years ago, we were looking for a new assistant for Sean Combs in New York. And we did this big calling, we went on YouTube, reached out to all different people, and we ended up with 5 finalists. Gave them a packet of about 4 projects that I needed to have done, and we gave them 2 weeks to do it. Now, one gentleman came, and he did a really great job on it, but he handed it in 5 days early. I never got to meet the rest of the candidates. He was first, he did a great job, and he stayed, and he's still doing phenomenal running his own business today. So the thing is, it does make a difference. Hand your assignment in early. Don't meet your deadline, beat your deadline. It makes a difference in the way people remember you. The other point about being rapid is, I know it must be difficult, and I remember going through this, trying to figure out what your major is, and the awesome responsibility of you feeling like you're responsible for what the rest of your life is going to be like. But I would say there's not a lot of fruit being born out of worry. Pick something, make a decision, and I believe in the strength of this group to make it the right decision. So I think be cautious, weigh all the decisions, be a scientist about the way you approach decision making, but don't spend 5 to 6 years waffling or overanalyzing things. Your path will be your path. Whatever your faith is, mine is, I believe in God. I know that God will direct my steps. And know that you can make the best of whatever situation is put in front of you. But if you overinvest and lose your very precious time, of which you will never get back, just going back and forth making a decision, I promise you it is a waste of time, and I've seen it firsthand. So be rapid in the way you approach your decision-making process. Well, the second thing is relentless. Now, being relentless is really, really hard. I'm not talking about like, I really tried really hard to do it. I tried 5 or 6 times to do it. Relentless isn't done until you cross the finish line of that particular project. Relentless really doesn't stop. And it's not easy to be relentless. You guys may not know, when I was young, there was a superstar for her time, Britney Spears. Don't judge me for quoting her, but she said, I'll never forget this quote that she said, that somebody asked her, well, what would you have done if you were not a singer? And she said, stone cold. She said, I had no plan B. There was nothing else I was going to be. I was relentless in the pursuit of my objective. This was my only option. If there is something that you love to do, and my dad, who's right here, used to tell me, when you think about what you want to work at and what you want to do when you grow up, do not chase the money. Do what you love, and the money will follow. Be relentless in the pursuit of what you love. Well, the third one is resourceful. So this is a story that happened about 4 weeks ago. I'm working at home, I'm working on budget, so I turned my cell phone off, which is kind of unusual at Combs Enterprises. But I said, I got my laptop up, anybody can shoot me an email if they need to. I wake up in the morning, and I have a few texts from Puff, Sean's brother Love, Diddy's assistant, saying, we are trying to reach you. So I look around, I said, they can't be trying to reach me. So I literally get all of Sean's team on the phone, all of his assistants, state managers and security, anybody that works, it's a big team, as you can imagine. And I said, hey, I got a note that you were trying to reach me. But I started here in 2005, where Google was still kind of wonky, wasn't what it was. We didn't have that option. I could not direct message anybody on Instagram. And I said, I got a couple of texts on my cell phone that said somebody tried to reach me, but I didn't see any pigeons landing outside with the letter. No one called my neighbors. I didn't get an email. I didn't get a direct message on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. Nobody tried to text my husband. Nobody called my assistants. I said, you didn't try to reach me. You failed to reach me. Understand what resources are at your disposal and use all of them, and think about things that don't even exist and figure out if you need a person who creates it to be as resourceful as you possibly can be. You live in an amazing time where all information is literally at your fingertips. So when I have young people in my organization tell me they can't find something, I said, oh no, that means you just weren't looking. And I know a group like this, high achievers like this, understand research and understand how to be resourceful. I want to make one last point on being resourceful. There's a company called Infosys in India. It's a $2 billion company, and one of the founders is famous for this saying, redefine the possible. Because part of being resourceful is not just researching what exists. It is researching and finding and using your brain to determine what doesn't exist. What is the most exciting about all of you students in this room is I know you will make things better, but what will you create that didn't exist? That is the true power of resourcefulness, is finding a hole, finding a white space, and figuring out how do you use your tremendous brain power, ideally in the collective, to really establish new and greater tools, not only to make yourselves better, but to truly make the world better. The fourth point is being responsive. Now, between me and you, I've been getting real busy lately, so I'm not even as responsive as I would like to be. So anybody has tips, I'll be here after. But what I would suggest for you guys is, it does matter that you actually respond to the requests and the opportunities that are in front of you. I have seen people presented with once-in-a-lifetime opportunities and fail to follow up or followed up late. I'm gonna give you a real-life point of view on this. You need a plumber. You might not need plumbers yet. You might live on campus. I used to live on Harper Tubman. Some point you will need a plumber. If you need a plumber, you probably need them right away. You call 3. First one calls you back. If they do a great job, they're gonna get your business. They may get your business for the next 10 years. Being responsive matters. If your professor gives you an opportunity and says, hey, I'm willing to talk to you after class, be responsive to that. That's a big deal. That's a huge opportunity. And it's another opportunity where, and I know Dr. Wilson and the faculty here have really gone above and beyond to push this forward. It's important that at HBCUs that we continue to foster these strong bonds with our faculty. I know they're here to serve. I know they were when I was here. Don't take that lightly. These are people who are going above and beyond for your personal greatness, which affects all of us. When you have a chance in front of you, be responsive. Jump on that opportunity. And the last thing is, be responsive on this point. Be responsive to yourself. A lot of studies show that people, particularly, and this is a little bit for the young ladies in the crowd, don't follow their own instincts. They think doing something instinctual is like some emotional response, and the truth is your instincts are a collection of historical information that have taught your body a shorthand message to assess a situation. My dad again is a New York police officer, and when you look at often, if you study like police reports, you'll find a lot of times if women have come under any harm's way, they will say, I had a feeling. I kind of knew this wasn't the right thing to do. You were right. and trust yourself. Don't let political correctness or politeness turn you away from your instincts. You can be responsive to the world, but be responsive to yourself. So now we're on my favorite one. I'm gonna spend a little time on this one, so bear with me. But it is about being respectful. This is my favorite one because I think it's so overlooked. And if you don't hear anything I say today, I would ask that you very simply just start to say please and thank you more often. If you don't do anything else, please take that with you. This is about respecting yourself and your peers. This is about respecting the importance of relationships and your broader community. Everyone has something to learn, and everyone has something to teach. Please ensure that you approach every relationship you have, a 4-minute ride with your Uber driver, a 1-year session with your senior teacher, but understand that there's inspiration and learning everywhere you look. The classrooms here are critical, but expand your mind beyond the classroom. You can learn, if you're from Houston, you can learn a lot from your friend from Demopolis, Alabama, and vice versa. Make sure that you are learning all the time. Be curious and approach your relationships with that point of view in mind. They say you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Are you making the 5 people you spend the most time with better? Are they making you better? I want you to really think about that. I'm really fortunate. 2 of my best friends from Morgan State are still my best friends today. In fact, my college roommate, just a total coincidence, she lives in Houston, is actually speaking here next week to the PhD program. She's a renowned physician in Texas. Steel sharpens steel. Now let's talk about the relationship beyond yourself, beyond your peers, and with your broader community. And I'm gonna give a shameless plug here. Do we have some people from Thread in the house here today? Can you raise your hands if you're here? Okay, over here to the left. So I am on the not-for-profit on the board for a not-for-profit called Thread here in Baltimore. Some of you may be from Baltimore, I'm sure many of you are from other cities. But while you're here in this city, why not make an impact, right? Why not make it better for your presence having been here? What I love about Thread, and I have a lot of opportunities, as you can imagine, working for Sean, to work with different not-for-profits. But the thing he and I both care about is you don't want to just give your money and time and hope something happen. I want to know something happen. I want to see the results. And what's exciting about the work that Thread does is their ultimate focus is on desegregating Baltimore, right? And the reason why it's called Thread is that none of us prosper alone. The interconnectivity of us is woven together like the threads that you're wearing today. And when something goes wrong with any one of us, it goes wrong with all of us. As for some reason lately, when I turn on the news, this message is getting lost, and there's been this push for this individualism. It just simply doesn't work. It's just a failed theory, right? You have to be interdependent on one another for your roads, for your relationships, for your communion. You have to be. At the end of your journey, and I hope everyone here lives a long life, but at 95 years old, or if you apprise yourself of the things you contributed to the world, things that were important to you, nobody is asking to snuggle up with their stacks of cash. Nobody is looking around and seeing how many medals they won. It does come down to the relationships you had. Who did you love and who loved you? What I love about Thread is it is built and rooted on those one-to-one relationships, and it's very much dependent on volunteer students like yourselves. We have a great relationship at Hopkins, and hope I can say this here, I would like to see more Black students representing, helping other Black students in Baltimore become the best they can be. So if you guys have time during your journey here, please check